Good morning, guys. Welcome to Fishful Thinker. I'm Chad LaChance.
And I'm cameraman Tim Farnsworth.
We went to Alaska. We did some sheefish fishing. You might have seen that show. We did some pike fishing. You might have seen that show. We also did some grayling. What do you think of the grayling?
Super unique, almost like catching a unicorn.
When we get up to dealing with the grayling themselves, I think that anyone that's ever been trout fishing would very easily spot the scenario, right? The outside turn in the river, a deep bend there, nice clean gravel, and a bunch of laydown logs that have fallen in the river. Pretty classic scenario, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely. It was a hole that you would typically trout fish for browns, rainbows, any of our lower 48 rivers. It was just a distinct looking spot, and you could tell why Dan was like, okay, we'll start right here. Well, right when we pulled up to where he wanted to start, we were into it.
All right, guys, we had to get the little jig out real quick. Our fearless leader is rigging the fly rod, and while he was rigging, I decided to throw a 2-inch Berkeley power swimmer and throw it on the bank on a 16th ounce jig head. I've got a little ultralight, and that is a beautiful grayling, guys.
Big.
That's a beautiful grayling. Guys, we got a quick still shot with him, and we'll give you one more quick look since we didn't give you much of a look at him, and then I'll get him put back. But this is a gorgeous grayling. There he goes. He just took off. They're hard to hold on to, and you guys know I don't like to squeeze fish. But little 2-inch power swimmer. Let me grab that thing. Dan, if you'll hold this. I want to show this to these guys real quick because it's a bait that only came out this last year. And I'll get it nice and straight again. And I've got it on a 16th ounce jig head right there. I picked orange because, or pink, I should say. I would have picked orange, red, or pink, any one of those three. And a little 2-inch power swimmer, and just a little tiny short fluorocarbon leader and some super thin Ultra 8 line on there, and ultra light, and just throwing it right down the bank. So same stuff we do back home for trout very easily, and these grayling, no problem, huh? Personally, it's on me. I'm the hard-headed guy in the group. I'm the one that's always like, well, let's see if we can catch them this way or that way. And I'm the first to admit that grayling are bug eaters. They'll eat little tiny bugs all day long. But they'll also eat a finesse jig if they need to. I'm gonna catch this one right here, watch. No, he didn't get, I got him. I told you.
God, you were just destroying him.
I told you, I saw him rise and I lifted it up in front of him and he just owned it.
Maybe we should just say forget the fly, because you're just
let's click off a few of these, man. Reality was they would move more to grab that 2-inch power swimmer. And that's fun on ultralight rods, a 7-foot ultralight rod and the real light line. And now that's 2 in a row that I just lifted it up in front of him. Look at his colors in the water. Look at that. Look at that, Mr. Farnsworth.
Looks like a betta.
Look at that thing, dude. A Mo betta. This one's Mo betta right here. This one's Mo betta. I'll bring him over here for you. And keep the line tight so he doesn't roll in the net. Mr. Farnsworth, you're gonna have to try some of this here in a minute. That's pretty good action. So yeah, that's a
beautiful little fish.
Look at the fins on these guys, dude. If we can get them to
really cool little fish.
Yeah, try to do a real slow release on them when you put them down. See if we can watch them in the water. That's what we ended up throwing, and you can see it's very clear looking. I was using a pink one, or I think we were both using a pinkish looking one up there. But at the end of the day, it's a little tiny 2-inch long power swimmer bait, and on a jig head, and it's a really good way to go about catching them, even though it's way bigger than anything they're naturally eating. There you go, just like that. Happy birthday, Mr. Farnsworth.
I don't know if I've ever caught a grayling before.
Well, you are working on it today.
One thing I can tell you, you've never caught one in Alaska. Alaskan Adventures. And Dan, you say these guys are pretty consistent through most of the season?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And Tim's borrowing the same ultralight that I've been throwing. We've been kind of sharing equipment back and forth. That's a 7-foot ultralight, and yep, that's a beautiful fish.
Wow. You know, the salmon haven't spawned yet, so these fish are hungry.
He's just swimming along with the boat.
Bring that guy up here.
Oh!
Acrobatic.
Get a little line on him. There we go.
All right, here we go. He's gonna get him right up. That rod's not exactly heavy.
Dude, that fish is heavy. Oh, good job.
Nice network, Dan. Nice network.
Ooh,
That's another giant, dude. Look at that little power swimmer, guys. Hold that fish real still. I want to look at that little power swimmer right in his face. Look at that, guys. That's what you want right there. Yep.
Look at that.
That is good action right there.
Wow.
All right, you guys can
Red on the top.
deal with that fish.
Log jam, huh? Let's throw it at the log jam and let it
That's
go.
a gorgeous
Yeah,
fish,
yes,
yeah.
sir.
What a beauty. You can't see the grayling. You'd think you'd be able to see them, but you can't see them sitting on the bottom of the river. Trout are more obvious sitting on the bottom of the river than grayling are, don't you think?
They had really good camouflage. I think we had pretty good cloud cover that day, so it wasn't like we were getting really good light into the water. I don't think we spotted any of them visually.
No, I don't think we did. And we went after them with both fly and spinning tackle, and we both caught them on fly tackle.
Yes.
Now I am, to quote cameraman Timothy Farnsworth, diversified. I got him on the big 4-weight and on the spinning rod, and as we preach on every episode of Fishful Thinker, the most fun is had when all the techniques are employed. Mr. Dan Paul. Oh, the other fly's still on there.
Yep. He just had it wrapped up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had both flies.
He had both
He
flies.
was hungry.
That's how you know they're committed. Woot, woot.
All right.
Yep, you can put him back. Well done, man.
I wanted to be able to get one on fly as well as conventional. It was definitely, I feel like it was harder to catch him on the fly tackle than it was on the, the little micro jig that we were throwing.
100%, I agree with that, and that's counterintuitive because you would think that the fly rod would be easier from the standpoint that you're feeding them what they're eating. A little tiny bug on a dead drift in glass clear water, because that water is clear, guys. You would think that would be easier.
Yes. Get him on the reel. Get him on the reel.
Okay. Nicely done, Mr. Farnsworth. So he's got a bend in the 11-foot 4-weight.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, follow that thing way up there.
Noodle, huh? It sure is.
And there's your strike indicator, bobber, or bobber, as the case might be. And where's grayling coming up? There he is.
Oh, and he took the Dan's mighty minnow.
All right. Good work,
Dan's
Dan.
mighty minnow.
Is that a store-bought or is that a...
No, it's my own special.
Look at this pole.
That's a nice. You can bend that a little more
I
over my
can.
shoulder. Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
All right.
Look at that one.
Yeah, that's a beautiful fish.
Chad, will you get a still of this?
Yeah, just put them in the net for a minute and we'll get a still. And guys, whenever we take stills of any fish, we'll keep them in the water while we get the other camera ready. So Dan will put them in the net. I wanted to catch them on a spinning rod as well, and so did you, and we did that as well.
And on the spin rod, it immediately was like every other ultralight jigging that we've done before. Whether it was, like Troy Coburn and his tiny little jig mafia jigs, it was really that exact same thing. Just, keep control of the jig. And these fish were hitting the jig really hard. Even when we wouldn't hook them, you would get bit, and now you know you're in the game because you just got smashed, it didn't hook them. Keep it going, and then you'd get them.
Yeah, and I think the reason we wouldn't get some of them is that bait's 2 inches long, and they do have a little mouth, even on a 20-inch grayling. And I think if some of them, you'd feel them just grab it by the tail and not get a clean bite on it, we'd miss them. The funny part is you could throw back and you could get them to go again, but like Tim said, it's a matter of watching the line, keeping a controlled bow in the line. The line can't be tight with a jig that small. If that's the case, the jig's coming to you. It can't be totally slack, or it'll either snag, or you don't have any idea what the fish are doing, or it's not drifting. So it's somewhere in between. If it's a controlled bow, and it's why we've said, and you've been filming for a long time, I've said forever that the finesse jig is the most important thing a guy can learn. And in this case, it was the small end of the finesse jig, but it for sure paid the bills. All right, we're gonna try this log jam out, guys, right here. Anytime you get a current break like that, potentially good. We know we have a bait they'll eat. So I'll make a couple of casts around it. See what happens. Got him right there, just like that. That's why you listen to the fishing guide. And that is a hog grayling, dude. That is a hog grayling. Look at the size of this grayling,
That is
dude.
the biggest.
Good call, Dan. And we always spiff people that can call. This is a big grayling, people. Like that's a monster grayling. Oh man. That is why you listen to, look at the size of that grayling. Holy crap. Like, I've never had to nurse a grayling before. There you go. That is a monster, dude. Oh my gosh, that's a big grayling. Hang on. That is a giant grayling. Hang on, I'm trying, dude, I'm trying. This rod's a noodle too, so. Right there. Oh my gosh, look at the size of that grayling. Pop that hook real quick so we can get a good clean. Oh my gosh, dude, that is a monster grayling. You just throw that overboard. That's
Look at that sucker.
Look at the size of that grayling. Holy crap, dudes, we're gonna have to get a still shot of that. That is a monster. Dude, good call. There might be a few fish around that log over here. Why don't you throw around that log?